Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know, from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars, topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host Pauline, and today we have a lot to discuss because, well, for one, I'm really excited because my Kings have finally won, as well as the fact that it's Vince Carter's birthday. And I love Vince Carter. I do. And so I'm excited for him. He's one of my all-time favorite guys watching growing up, as well as continued into now. The Kings won. Let's see, Russell beat out Mr. Larry Bird. So we have a lot to discuss in the world of basketball. So let's just get started. I want to give you guys a start with a recap of all the games that took place last night. So there were quite a few games that were played last night. So we have a lot to catch up on. I'm going to jump to, we're going to talk about the Kings and the Cavs last, just because, one, I'm really excited to discuss that, as well as the fact that there's a lot of just tension and animosity happening on the Cavaliers side that we need to discuss. So I'll jump in with the Rockets going to take on the Celtics in Boston. So the Rockets lost 109-120. James Harden, however, he had a double-double, 30 points, 6 rebounds, 12 assists. So a great game for James. However, it just was not enough to defeat the Celtics. Now, Isaiah, he had 38 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists. So just one shy on the assist category of getting that double-double there for the Celtics. However, it was still a really good game. And just, you know, when you have a guy such as Isaiah who believes he is the best player in the NBA or in the world right now, then I expect him to be posting up 38 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists on any night against anyone. So I'm glad that he did. The Heat went to go visit the Brooklyn Nets. They defeated them 109-106. They outscored the Brooklyn Nets in the fourth quarter 38-17. So if you're only going to score 17 points, well, I mean, granted, the game was close, but you can't just score 17 points in the fourth quarter and think that you're going to win the game unless you've been blowing the team out all game long. So Dion Waiters, the Miami Heat, he had 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists. Brook Lopez of the Nets posted 33 points, 4 rebounds and 3 assists. So not bad for that big guy in the middle. The Hawks went and defeated the Bulls in Chicago 119-114. And if you guys have been keeping up with the Bulls, Dwayne Wade, he is not happy. Neither is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy, for the Bulls last night, 40 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. But they're upset. It's different. And I guess this is kind of some of those growing pains that Dwayne Wade has to go through. We remember when LeBron went back to Cleveland, those growing pains that he was going through, and it seems like he's going through right now again. But sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side, especially when you return home. It's not as easy. And just the structure of just whenever you switch jobs. It's just like when you're switching jobs and you make transfer to just a different branch within the same company, whatever, it's still different. And there's still a lot of changes that need to be made and some growing pains and some kinks that have to get played out. So I think that's a little bit of what's happening with Dwayne going to the Chicago Bulls at this time. Rajon Rondo, you guys know what's happening with him. It's just not as easy as of a transition for Dwayne and his Bulls as they probably would have expected. So moving on to the 76ers went to go see the Milwaukee Bucks and they won 114-109. The Sixers are 17-27 right now. Noel for the Sixers, he had 16 points, 13 rebounds, and 1 steal. So not bad for that guy. The Bucks, George Monroe, their center over there, had 28 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. But like I said, the 76ers were able to pull away with the win over in Milwaukee. The Toronto Raptors barely lost to the Grizzlies last night. Kyle Lowry, 29 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists for the Toronto Raptors. Marc Gasol, 42 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. And I believe that he actually just not defeated, but he was able to surpass his brother, Pau Gasol, in a career high 42 points. So that was a career high for him last night. He had 42 points against the Raptors, but he broke his brother's Memphis record for scoring, 5-game span with 154 points. So Pau Gasol, he had 151 points over a span of 5 games back in 2006. So Mark was able to break that kind of like team record over there with 154 points. That's kind of cool. I like these little, friendly competition amongst siblings. If you guys get a chance to listen to the sports podcast, I was co-hosting that with another GSMC host, Anthony, and we were discussing Serena and Venus being in the finals with the Australian Open. So if you guys get a chance, like I said, that's the sports podcast. You guys can hear us kind of banter back and forth about that. And then we have the Golden State Warriors. They went to go take a visit to the Hornets. They won. The Warriors won 113-103. Kevin Durant played a great game last night. 33 points, 5 rebounds, and just 2 assists. But he had a great game to kind of secure that win for the Warriors last night. Kemba Walker, 26 points, 3 rebounds, and 8 assists. So not bad. Not bad at all. But, they're going up. Okay, so the Hornets are 15-9 at home, whereas the Warriors are 19-4 away. So the Warriors are a really good travel team. They just are. They are a good travel team. And then the Knicks fell to the Dallas Mavericks 95-103. Carmelo with 30 points. He had 8 rebounds and 3 assists. Tried and true Dirk had 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. So not a phenomenal game from Dirk, but enough to get the job done. And then the Lakers. They fell to the Trailblazers 98-105. So not a terrible loss, but still another L. They're 5-20 away. The Lakers are, whereas the Trailblazers are 12-9 at home. Mason Plumlee of the Trailblazers, he had 19 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists. And then Lou Williams of the Lakers, he posted a really nice 31 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. So he came to go to work, but was not able to, they just weren't able to pull away with the win there in Portland. And then let's take a look at OKC. So the Thunder went to go visit the Pelicans last night, beat them 114-105. Russell, 27 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. So, yep, you guessed it. Another triple-double for our guy, Westbrook. And we're going to get into what that means for him when we come back from the break. And also, to wrap up this little portion of the show, the Kings defeated the Cavaliers in overtime, people. So that's 3 straight losses for the Cavs. The Kings won 116-112. So not a terrible game. And I'm not going to lie. When it got set to overtime, I was like, I just knew that the Kings were going to lose because, they're not a great overtime team. They're not. And sometimes it can get sloppy. And I hate when a player, any player, and this is just with anyone, not just necessarily DeMarcus, but just anyone in general on any team, when they feel like they kind of have to be the savior of the team. So there might still be 2 minutes left, and they decide to jack up a 3-pointer when they're only down by 1 or only down by 2. And then now the other team gets the rebound, they take it back to the other side, and now we're down by a lot more, and now we need a 3. Whereas before, if you just would have put up a nice 2 points or, bang it out in the inside and make it a 3-point play. But that's just me. So I was really, really glad that they did not do that last night, and they were able to pull away with that win. DeMarcus was just one shy of a triple-double. He had 28 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. Big LeBron James had 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists, so he was able to get the job done as far as his stat book is concerned. But as an overall, they did fall to the Kings. So when we come back, we're going to talk about how upset Bronny is in regards to that. We're going to talk about Russell Westbrook and the new record that he has just set out for himself, and some college basketball, of course. So keep it locked here. You are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline. Now, like I said, so this has been the third straight loss for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and LeBron, of course, he's very upset. He's not happy. He's not happy at all. He's just upset. He truly is upset. So I don't know, and I discussed this earlier with my co-host Anthony. We don't know. I don't know if you can really deal with LeBron, and when he goes on these kind of rants or whatever you may have whatever he's calling it, when he just gets really frustrated, that I don't know how seriously his teammates take him as far as that is concerned, because really, I don't know. It's just, I don't know if all the talk even helps, because is it helpful to complain about your team? Is it, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think that it is. I truly don't think that it's helpful to be complaining about your team and to just bark about what is right, what is wrong, what we need to change, what we need not to change, what we need to do different, instead of being in the field house, working out, in practice, getting it together, figuring it out. And I don't know. That's truly how I feel, because what is the tweeting, the sidebar, the remarks in the interviews? Now, I get it. Granted, you're allowed to say whatever it is that you want to say when you're in these interviews, as far as that's concerned, if you want to be upset. But at the end of the day, what are we changing in the locker room? Or not in the locker room, excuse me, on the like I said, on the court during practice. And what are we doing to make it better? Okay, so you guys lost to the Kings. Now, you guys know I'm a Kings fan. I love the Kings, and shout out to DeMarcus. He didn't want to be the savior. He was doing really well. He even had 9 assists, I said earlier. So he made sure to get everybody involved. And when DeMarcus has a great game and when he wants to win, we do. When he's not playing selfish, when he doesn't think that he has to be the savior. And now you guys can argue that, he has to do everything himself, and that he has to put the team on his back, and that it's a lot of weight on his shoulders. Okay. I get it. That's fine. But at the same time, is that necessarily a bad thing? So you can only be great if everybody else around you is great? I don't know. Because I don't know. So anyways, so I know that is something that the Cavs are going to be working on, because they did lose to the Kings, and they lost to the Kings in Cleveland in overtime, and the Kings never win in overtime. They don't. That was like their first overtime win all season. So they don't win in overtime, and yet they did. So that just goes to show you that turmoil that's happening off the court, in the locker room, on social media, in the media, on interviews, is now trickling into what's happening with them. And they've been actually kind of on a losing streak these last couple weeks. So it's something that needs to get put together. It's not that they're not going to get into the playoffs or whatever, but you just want to get all these kinks ironed out before we get into the playoffs, so that they can definitely make sure that they do well in the playoffs. Because if another team is coming calm, cool, and collected, and they're ready to defeat you, and they know that you got some cracks in your boat, they're going to pour water on it and expand that crack. So anyways, so now moving on to our guy, Russell Westbrook. And I know that it seems like I'm always talking about Russell, but I'm telling you, Russell is always doing something. And that's the reason why we keep talking about him, is because, so he just posted his 23rd triple-double of the season with 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists in his victory over the Pelicans last night. And so he has officially passed Larry Bird for 5th place, because this is his 60th overall triple-double, like, as far as career is concerned. So, and it looks like he's really going to do it, you guys. I think so. And I'm telling you, I think that it's going to be an average. He's going to keep bumping up the ranks. He's going to keep doing it. He's going to try his hardest. And by the end of his career, he's going to be definitely up there. If he continues in the fashion that he plays, in Westbrook fashion, I would not be surprised. And it was actually, now Oklahoma, They did get that victory. Anthony Davis had to leave the game due to it was his right thigh late in the second quarter. He finished with 8 points and 5 rebounds. This is the same injury that they were nursing. He was dealing with having some complications, trouble with on Monday as well. And so he had to actually, if you guys were watching the game, then you guys did see that he did actually call a timeout, had to leave the game, had to go to the locker room to kind of deal with that, because it caused him some pain. And so he grabbed his right thigh, went to the bench. He had to, they called a timeout. He went to the locker room, and this is actually out of the last 8 games, he's had to stop playing, sit out, miss part of it or whatever. And he actually sat out the rest of the game, even though that happened in the second quarter. So the last 7 out of the last 8 games, he's been having to get off the floor, stay off the floor, not touch the floor, something like that. So he really is, and I just wish that it could just work better in his favor. I really, 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 really do. You guys know that I love Anthony Davis. So hopefully he'll be able to get it together. I don't know if he needs to just sit and rest really for like a couple games in a row. I'm sure he doesn't want to. Nobody likes sitting out to nurse an injury ever. So we'll have to figure it out with him. But with that, we're going to cut it to a quick break. And when I come back, we got to talk about some Vince Carter as well as some college basketball. So keep it locked here. You're listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and we're getting ready to wrap up this episode. But before we do, there were a couple of top 25 games that took place last night, as well as I told you guys I love Vince Carter, so I'm going to give you guys a highlight of Vince Carter's career. He's still playing. He's turning 40 today. Today is his birthday, so but I'm going to wrap it up on that. So back to college basketball. So Texas Tech went to go see Baylor last night, lost to them just by 4 points, 61-65. Baylor currently is ranked number 5. Jonathan Motley for Baylor, he had 25 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 assist. He's a forward for Baylor out there. Justin Gray of Texas Tech, 12 rebounds. I apologize. Justin Gray, 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. I was getting a little bit ahead of myself with that one. Number 6, Florida State fell to unranked Georgia Tech. Now, Florida State is 6-2 in the ACC, whereas Georgia Tech is now 4-4. Georgia Tech, beat Florida State 78-56. Wow. So Josh Okogie, he's a guard for Georgia Tech, 35 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists. So he was giving Florida State that work last night. Trent Forrest, he was their top performer at Florida State. He had just 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist. So Josh and his guys at Georgia Tech, they was giving him that work last night. So and then we had UCLA going to go visit USC, not far away. UCLA is ranked number 8. They fell to USC, who is not even ranked in the top 25, 76-84. That put UCLA in the Pac-12. Their record is now 6-3. And the top performer for UCLA, Thomas Welsh, 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. DeAnthony Melton of USC, he posted a nice 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. So he was just one shy of a double-double for the Trojans last night. Number 11, Butler, went to go take on Seton Hall, defeated them 61-54. Nice game, actually, over there. It was their first loss at home for Seton Hall, so Butler was able to give them that first taste of what it's like to lose at home. Creighton, they went to go visit Georgetown, lost to Georgetown by 20 points. Now, Creighton is ranked number 16, and Georgetown is only 2-6 in the Big East, 11-10 overall, so not a terrible, not great record. As far as conference play, they could do better, but they defeated Creighton, like I said, 71-57. Chris Patton of Creighton, he posted 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist, but LJ Peak of Georgetown, 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists. And then Florida, they are ranked number 25, went to go visit LSU, defeated them 106-71, did not show any mercy on LSU. LSU is currently 1-7 in conference play, whereas Florida's is 6-2. No doubt as to why Florida is ranked at least number 25 and LSU is not. Devin Robinson of Florida, 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. Wade Sims of LSU, 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist. So pretty good night of games as far as that is concerned. And the college basketball side, tonight we have some games as well. Top 25 games. Number 9, North Carolina is hosting Virginia Tech tonight. Number 3, Gonzaga is hosting San Diego. Let's see, Oregon goes to see Utah tonight. Oregon is ranked number 10. St. Mary's, number 21, is taking on San Francisco. It should be an easy win for St. Mary's tonight. 24, Xavier is going to see number 19, Cincinnati. That's going to be a good game as far as for power rankings are concerned. Xavier, they want to, stay in the top 25. They're going to need to get this win tonight. That's going to be very, very helpful for them. Arizona is hosting Washington State. Arizona currently is ranked number 7. And so with that, we are getting ready to wrap up this episode, but I am too excited to discuss Vince Carter. It's his birthday today. He's turning 40. And one of the reasons why I'm excited to discuss him is because, one, he's a guy that I grew up watching play. I feel like he's been in the game for forever. He's 18 years in the game. He was, drafted in 1998 in the first round, number 5, 5th overall by Golden State. All right. He played for North Carolina. And the thing is that with some guys, as they get older, their style of game might slow down. They, some of these injuries or just the wear and tear of the body starts to show. However, if you guys saw his game last night, you guys saw that uncontested 360 dunk. And you can see that he still got it. And so with his career overall, he's been, overall throughout his entire career, he's averaged 18.5 points per game, 3 assists and 4 rebounds. So some decent career stats. He was an 8-time NBA All-Star. He was the NBA Rookie of the Year in 1999, NBA All-Rookie First Team 1999, the Slam Dunk Contest champion in 2000. But the funny thing is to me, as far as like dunks are concerned, and now this morning I spent my morning, the first half of my morning preparing for the podcast, watching Vince Carter dunks. You could actually go on YouTube and watch his top 100 dunks. He doesn't have just a top 10, top 25, a top 50. He has a top 100 dunks. Like, you can just watch his dunks all morning long if you wanted to. And I promise you, I could have sworn he had more slam dunk championships, was like a winner of was a slam dunk champion more than just once. But that's because every game that he played, especially in his younger days, he treated it as if it was a slam dunk contest. I swear, all his dunks were always fancy. He was actually just voted in 2016 the NBA Teammate of the Year, so he still just shows he's a great guy. He does have 2 gold medals. He has an Olympic gold medal back from the team in Sydney, the Sydney Olympics in 2000, as well as a FIBA Americas Championship in San Juan 2003. So he's had a pretty good career, if I do say so myself. He played for North Carolina, like I said, 1995 to 1998. Just a great overall basketball player. And I think it's just a lot of fun to see some of these guys that we grew up watching, and even the guys that are playing now. Nothing to take away from the guys that are playing now, but if you ask them, especially guys that like to show off and flashy dunks, he's one of those guys that is up there as far as the greatest hits list. He is. I don't care what anybody says. He just is. So that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Happy birthday to Vince Carter. We look forward to a lot of games tonight. Ben will be back tomorrow to give you guys the rest of the scoop. Looking forward into the weekend as well. You have been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and I will talk to you guys next time.